Right, let's begin. Hi guys. So hopefully this is all set up correctly now. Hopefully you can all hear me fine. I'm messing around my audio settings a little bit tonight. Let's get this window the right size. Make sure I can hear things. Oh, you can probably tell from my voice I've still got that cold a little bit. So I apologise if I break down in a coughing or sneezing fit at any point. There's only so much Lemsip I can have before it becomes kind of problematic, almost an addiction. Hopefully that text is the right size as well. Yeah, it looks fine. So we're going to do Uridium tonight, but I thought we'll do this from scratch. So normally when I do these streams I spend a little bit of time beforehand preparing, but I thought I'd show you how I go about doing that. How I go about getting a clean image and creating a patchable, a buildable and patchable file. I want to do this because I don't think I've shown you how I'm doing this yet, so let's jump straight in. Let me open up a terminal. Call it a terminal, but it's Windows, so it's actually a command prompt. Hopefully that's big enough. Okay, so in this folder, so I'm using Linux commands now. In this folder, I've got the 3 tools that I use for building and repacking things, and the D64 file. Let's take my watch off, it's irritating me. So the first thing we need to do is work out what's on this D64. Now there is a Windows tool that will do this, so if I double click we can see it here, but I thought I'd show you how to do it without this tool, because this tool is Windows only. So it's handy to know how to use these other tools. Now all the tools I've got here do have Linux or OS X versions of them. C1541 is a disk manipulation tool that you can find in Vice. It's in the root of the Vice folder. Unpacked 64 or Unp64, I believe you'll have to build that yourself, but if anybody does want an OS X version of that, I do have that at work, and I can sort that out for you. Same with Xamizer as well. I could use Windows Terminal. Yeah, I could. I do keep intending to set that up at some point, but to be honest with you, I've just got used to doing it with both Windows and OS X commands anyway. So, okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to look what's on this disk. So as I say, we've got this tool which can do it for us in Windows. It's all nice, you get a nice UI and you can drag and drop things into here. But essentially under the hood it's doing this C1541. So if you just run that, you'll get a new command prompt, and if you type help in there, you can see all the commands you've got. Quite a lot in here, we don't need many of them. It also tells you what drive we've mounted as well. So first of all you need to attach a disk, and then when you've attached it you can use dir to list the disk that's on it, and as you can see that's the same listing that we get in here. Tells you pretty much the same information. And then it's really as simple as just typing extract, and that will extract the file for us. You can see it's appeared here. Obviously it's a PRG file, but it's not named it's not named as PRG. So first of all you have to rename the file. Oops. Damn it, I have to exit this one. So just rename the original file to give it a PRG ending on it. And so you can see we've got Uridium PRG here. So that's the same as dragging it out of the IR master, and that will work on Linux and on OS X as well. You can do other things with this as well. You can add stuff to it. You can format blank disks and stuff. So if you need to create a blank D64 image, it's a good way of doing that. And it's just a handy thing to have if you want to write your own scripts to do this sort of thing. Because I wrote an Unpacked script which does a lot of this automatically, but I thought I'd show you how it actually works. So the next tool we're going to use is Unpacked 64. Unpacked 64 has a number of options. The ones we're interested in are verbose output, because we want to know everything about the file as we start unpacking it, and clean leftover packed data copied at the end of memory. So this just ensures that we don't get we don't get the junk that's left over from unpacking stuff when we unpack it. And the other option we need is -o to give us an output file. So you basically do unpack 64 -v-l verbose and clean leftovers, and then give an output file, call it out, and then an input file. And that will work through the file, work out what the packing was used in it. It will give you two addresses that I find interesting here. Is this one here, entry point, and this one here, return to memory. Sometimes your SYS, your start entry point is this one, sometimes it's this one, so it's worth just keeping a note of these two values. But before we carry on, we're going to unpack that again, just to see, because sometimes these are packed more than once. So if you use extract, you can either extract a single file. If you don't add a file name, it will just extract all the PRGs from that folder. Well, so I'm doing the same again, but this time I'm passing in out PRG as my input file. I'm also overwriting it as the output file as well, and this is just going to double check that there's no other packing involved. So and there you go, you can see it has been packed twice. So now we've got another entry point 0803 and another return to memory. This looks interesting because this is up in the upper banks of memory, so this is probably going to be our entry point. But before we continue, we try once more to see if we can do it. Yeah, there's no more, so can't find the entry point, so there probably isn't any more packers there. So now we've got an out PRG. So what we're going to do, we're going to load up. God, this cold really is killing me. I'm going to load up the PRG in Vice. Okay, so that's loaded. It's not going to run automatically because we don't have an upstart. So what we need to do, I just need to turn off my joystick. So actually we can do it through the monitor. So if you go into the Vice monitor and we try these addresses, so I think it's going to be the C400 because that's in upper memory. And just type G, go, and then the address we want. Oops. Yeah, there we go. So this is whatever the crack was that they put on it. I'm assuming there's no more packing at this point, so I'm assuming it's just going to go straight into the game. Yeah, it does. Okay. So what they've done is they've created, let me turn the sound off. They've created a cheat that uses some spare space in memory before the game loads. So with that in mind, what we can do next is we can use the debugger to take a look. Hi Mads, welcome to the stream. So I use this infiltrated debugger, sorry, disassembler, not debugger. And this allows me to examine the file in detail, and we can see what's going on. So we know where the entry point is, but we can see where that crack actually forces the game to start loading, so we can avoid it's out PRG. We can avoid having to load the crack bit as well. So we can see where the crack is, we can see where the free space is, and we can delete that crack area, and we can use it for our own stuff later on. So it's quite hard to see this, so I'm going to put the font size up as much as I can. I'm going to delete all these entries as well. I do recommend playing around with this infiltrator. It's a very, very good debugger. It's certainly the best one I've used for Commodore stuff. I use IDA Pro and Ghidra for stuff at work, but it's nowhere near as good as this for a random puzzle there. Hi Dr. Miss, and yeah, we are removing the crack stuff. I thought I'd show how I do it, so we can learn a little bit from that. So once you've got it loaded into the disassembler, you just click disassemble. This little progress bar will move along here, and when it's done, you've got the disassembler here. So I have shown this before. Any areas that are light green generally are going to be actual code. Any areas that are dark green have not been cannot be analysed as code, so that they're generally, these are going to be data areas, sprites, things like that. So we know that there was a piece of code at C400, so I'm going to move up to there and have a look. Sure enough, here's our block of code. So this was our entry point, and this looks like it's just copying. Okay, it's copying some screen data from C00, so this area here must be our screen data, all the way up here somewhere. And we can check that as well by going into Infiltrator. You look at C and S, which is character and screen. And if we go up into the upper RAM banks up here, and screen at C00, sorry, C00 there. Okay, we don't have the real char set. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to load. There is a ROM char set under IO RAM, but it doesn't work for some reason in Infiltrator. But you can kind of see the layout is what it was in the crack intro. So we had some text here, then we had some bands, and then we had the infinite lives here. So you can see where that is. God, pardon me, it's really, really bad, this code. So with that in mind, let's have a look at the code and see what's going on. So it copies this screen into memory, and then it jumps to 0680. So if you right click on an address in here, you can jump to, you need to select it and then jump to selection. Why is it not jumping to it? There we go. Interesting. It's this is because what it's actually doing, this is in screen RAM. So if we go back to where we were, it's copying from C to C4 into screen RAM, and then it's jumping to 0680. Where is it? Jump 0680. So that code is actually up here. That code is here. Unfortunately, the disassembler has kind of screwed up the block of code here slightly. Should be able to read that, but it should start there, but for some reason it thinks it's starting here. That's fine, we can have a look and see what that's doing. So just bring up my opcode list. Need to clear up my bookmarks. There we go. So 58 is clear interrupt, and then it does A2, which is load X. So it's a clear interrupt load X with 0. So this seems to be setting up a few things, setting up some color RAM, just trying to find out where the actual game starts. So it looks like jump to, no, it's a branch. 0702 looks suspicious. Or jump to 0900 also looks. Is that an indirect jump? I think it is an indirect jump. Oh no, it's an absolute jump. Okay. So jump to 0900. So I'm guessing our actual game code starts at 0900. So let's go and have a look. And yeah, this looks fairly certain this is going to be it. So a lot of games will, the very first instruction will be set interrupt disable flag. The reason for that is obviously the first thing you want to do in a game is you want to set all your interrupts up, and you want to make sure that none of your timers or existing interrupts are being fired at that point. So this is very likely to be our entry address. So let's try that by going into here again. I'm going to load up our PRG, open up the monitor and type G0900, and there we go. Just make sure that the music is working. Yeah, it is. Okay, cool. I'm going to turn it off again. So with that in mind, we've now got a PRG which we can use. I'm going to call it base, and we're going to create a new file in here, and we'll call it crack. So you can see how easy it is to extract those things. And pull them out. Some games are easier than others. It depends on how it's been packed. Some packers aren't detected by Unpacked 64. It's pretty good. It does detect most of them. What you can do if you can't find the pack, if Unpacked 64 can't find the pack that's being used, what you can do is use C64 Debugger just to double check that it is being packed, and you'll notice that well, I'll show you actually. You'll see when a file is being unpacked how it behaves. You'll see this kind of sweep as it starts filling memory up. So if I load the original file in here, you see as it's unpacking, it's reading from one area and writing to another. You get these sweeps, and you'll notice when they're happening, most of the code is running all the way down in stack memory. So what these unpackers tend to do is they tend to have their code running in the stack memory. So from 0100 up to 0200, and the reason for that is because it's the most likely place that's not going to get used. So it's a good place to put it, and for 99.9% of games it's going to work fine. Thank you for the raid, Chiz. Welcome to the stream. Chiswicked raid, yeah, it's my first ever Chiswicked raid. Awesome. It's been really good to see you stream tonight, by the way. It's about time, to be honest. And now you have to get Hayes round to your place for the 2-player games. Do it the other way around. See how it goes. So we've just I've just demonstrated how we clean a kind of cracked row from a game. And how to find the entry point using the disassembler. I can't wait to see you to see your emotes. What emotes you go for, Chiz? It's gonna be fun. So as I say, when you can't find the final unpack, then you can just look through this code here. So this is the unpack code, and you'll see at the end here there's a jump command, and usually this jump command is what happens after the pack has happened. So you can put a breakpoint on here, so you can pause it while the unpack is happening, have a look through the code, try and find the end, what happens at the end of the unpack. It's usually going to be the last instruction in here or roundabout here. Put a breakpoint on, and see if that is the last thing that happens before it jumps in. And then at that point you can use save in the monitor in here to actually save out a PRG file of the unpacked, the now unpacked kind of area, and then do the same again with the debugger. Home and away 2-player streams, yeah, that's a good point actually. You have to play the same games as well, because I feel sometimes Chiz is at a disadvantage. He's round at yours, he's in unfamiliar territory, not got his own joystick, so background music is a bit too quiet. Okay, hang on. Hopefully that's a little bit better. Oops, not too loud. Yeah, I'm gonna change the music soon as well, because I'm getting lots of, well, not copyright strikes, but copyright claims. Pardon me, copyright claims on the YouTube videos. So I'm gonna try and find a list that isn't quite as bad. Background music is too loud. Don't. I'm not gonna yo-yo it. Okay, so that's how you would find it. If anybody wants kind of some more information on how to do that, feel free to kind of contact me on Discord at any point, and we'll go through that. Oh, actually, I'm not sure if it's still open, but if you guys haven't voted already, then for the Halloween game that we did, it'd be really good if you could vote. Let me find the voting page. Yeah, it is still open. Okay, let me post this link for you guys. Had a great hack idea while playing Tapper. Okay. I don't think I've ever played Tapper. I might have to have a look at that. Yeah, let me know. Hacker Weatherspoons. Oh, is that the beer one? Is that where you've got to go and you've got all the kind of not conveyor belts, but like bars, isn't it? And you've got to kind of yeah. And yes, pick up a copy of Vegetables. Right. Oh, where's my Vegetables one? There we go. Get a copy of Vegetables while you're at it. I need to sort out, once I've got this goddamn monster of a computer out of the way, I'm going to set a nice kind of shelf up behind me, tidy all that mess up, and get a nice shelf with all my games on it and stuff. Okay, cool. How is the voting doing actually? Let's have a look. Okay, 59 to 44. So it's between our game and Get Witchy. This is not bad. Also, Carl's game is on there as well, Witch Day. Carl's click and point game, Sackcrack. Is it Sackcrack? I got mixed up with the names. It is Sackcrack, isn't it? Terrible with names, especially when the names don't match in Discord. A decent intro to saving, cracking, and training. Oh, okay, cool. Oh, I'm going to save that for later. Ah, okay, cool. Yeah. To be honest, I've just kind of gone about this in my own way. I've not really looked into how to do this. I've just kind of played around with the debugger, and most of what I've learned I've done on stream as well. So tried every VPN cookie trick to it. Ah, dear. Okay, so now we've got our base file that we need to load in. So in Crack ASM, what we're going to do, I'm going to open up, I've got another little file to help me out here because I can never remember these things. So the first thing we need to do is we need to define the file that we're going to create. So we create a file directive in here and we give it our name. So this is called crack, so I'm going to call it crack.prg. It just makes sure it loads. If you've got an ASM file and you want it to automatically load when you press F7, the PRG output file needs to be the same. If it's not, then it won't. So we'll call it crack.prg. and then we need to define two segments. So our segments are the base and the patch. I'll explain those in a second, and then finally we need to set this flag called allow overlap. And what that lets us do is define code here that overlaps in memory. So otherwise you'll get an error in when you go to compile that the memory areas are overlapping and it won't build. So with that done, we define our segments. So segment def base, and it's empty. I think you can set some options in here. I can't remember exactly. I mean, I'm copying from my other cracks. So we define the two segments there, and then we actually create the segment areas here. So any code we put between here and here gets applied to the base, and anything we put here gets applied as patch, and patch can overlap the base. So the first thing we need to do is import the PRG. What I'm going to do though, I prefer not to use a PRG. Yeah, this is an ASM file. So what I do, yeah, this is kind of setting up an ASM file. So what I'll do is I'll take base PRG, I'll drop it into a hex editor, and I'll just delete those first 2 bytes. So a PRG file is essentially just a long binary file with 2 extra bytes at the beginning which tell it where to load. So we know that this is going to load in at 0800 because that's what the bytes I've just taken out, and then we can just import binary like that, and that's it. That's basically the simplest file we can create that will import this in. And now to make this work, we can stick a basic upstart in, because we've already looked at the code in here and determined that there's nothing in this location. It's all zeros here. This is the beginning of basic, so we can put some stuff in here just to start our game. So we'll use the normal basic upstart 2 entry, and then we'll create entry here. And this is where we can do any kind of pre-setup that we need to do, or we can just jump straight to 0900. Of course, we could also just do this instead. In fact, let's do it that way. That's probably simpler. And that should be enough. So when we press F7 now, we should get our game loading and jumping to the correct place in memory. And there we go. So we've got our game loading up. So now from this point, what we can do is we can add anything we want to into this location, in the patch location, and it will just patch over the original file. And this is what we've been doing with the game patches that we've been doing. So what I've been doing normally is just copying this file, changing a few file names here and there, and entry points. Does it matter if base PRG is already cracked? No. So what this is essentially doing is just taking a snapshot of memory. In our case, a PRG file that doesn't auto load. It just loads all the stuff into memory. And then we're patching an entry point over the top using basic upstart 2 and pointing at the entry point we found. We've stripped this this thing down so it's no longer unpacking. So if you have got one that's cracked and you import it, then you probably just need to run it at the crack location. So for instance, if this was cracked, in fact, if it's cracked, you probably wouldn't even do this. The whole point of this is to patch the patch the uncracked version. So I guess yes, it does matter if base PRG is cracked, because it will have some kind of packing in, and you won't be able to see the code, as I point out in here. So this is, if you look at the memory map here, this is what it looks like when it's unpacked, when it's packed. But when it's actually fully loaded up, you can see the pattern's completely different. So and that's what the game actually looks like. So say we wanted to patch something in here, like add some new sprites or something, we wouldn't be able to do that with the uncracked version. So with the cracked version. Hey Fry, welcome to the stream. Okay, so let's take our cracked version out of bin and drop it into here, and let's have a look in the debugger and see what's going on and see what we can change. Oh, sorry, I'm gonna have to blow my nose. Pardon me. Hi Sackrack, welcome to the stream. Oh, what are you working on? Is this for which day? Okay, right. Oops. Alright, Windows open. Yeah, that flu is damn strong. You caught one 3 weeks. It's the London flu, isn't it? There's something about it. It's hit me damn hard, really hard. Okay, for some reason this doesn't want to load. You can see the memory's correct here, and in fact, if I go up here and put 0900 in, the game will load. I'm just wondering why it's not auto loading. So let me reopen C64 Debugger. I did actually have a think about doing some kernel ROM changes, but to be honest, I think one of the problems that 80 column mode has got on the Commodore is that the VIC2 just isn't that good at doing. I mean, you'd have to do 4 character wide column, and it's just not going to work that well. But I did think about doing my own custom ROMs, because I've got a ton of EPROMs at the back, and I was going to change like the boot up to make it look more interesting, put my name in, things like that. You know, all the sort of things you would have done back in the day. Okay, so is it going to load this time? It's not loading again though, so I just want to see if that loads in Vice. Okay, it does load in Vice. I don't know why it doesn't auto load in here. It does if I type run though, that's weird. Okay. So let's have a look through the game. So there's an interesting thing that's happening. So you can see we've got this moving window across the background here, across this memory location here. So I think what that's doing is these letters here. So I'm guessing the bottom half of this screen, the bottom half of this block of memory here gets changed as the letters go across. And there you can see the level being drawn. So that's kind of cool. Let's see if we can find some text first. So let's do some simple stuff. Let's find where the text on the title screen is coming from. Oh, God. And again, yeah, it loads the map in here. Interestingly, it doesn't seem to be the whole map, because the maps are much longer than this. So I'd be interested to see what happens when it gets to this end. Okay, let's have a look for some text. So interestingly, you can still see at 0400 the Commodore Basic screen here. So that hasn't changed, and that's because we're no longer running that that code that was that the crackers had put in, it was being copied into that area. So that remains the same. So this is a whole area where we could put some stuff quite easily. One interesting thing is you can tell these are character bullets because this is the map that's being drawn, and the characters look like they're just being drawn directly to the map. I should get 2 tampons for my nose. Yeah. Yeah, it's really bad. Okay, let's have a quick scroll through just so we can see any obvious text in here. So this column here is the Petsky representation of memory. So as we scroll through memory, it shows us what the Petsky representation is. This column here is, I believe, character representation of memory. I think if I click around, yeah, it will change. I think this is character representation, and this is sprite representation. So you see as we go through, and we hit different banks. So at the moment, this is all just data. This looks like some kind of lookup tables. And then we get some stuff which is starting to look a little bit like sprites and characters. Clicking around at different places will reorganize the data. We could just search for a string as well, but I want to find it like this to show you how easy it can be sometimes to find these things. Hi little Q, welcome to the stream. Okay, so this is all sprite data, more sprite data. Thank you for the follow, little Q. Oh, come on. Let's use page down. So, okay, lots of blank RAM here. This is probably this area. In fact, it is. You can see it. See the blue being read down. So this is this area up at the top. I'm sure as we go down the bottom half, we'll start seeing information here. So this area is what's being written to with the maps. Oh, one other interesting thing you can do as well, and I don't know if you guys have ever tried this before. I know some of you who are already developers for the C64 have probably done this before. But if you load up a game such as this, take a snapshot. I'll save the snapshot in the folder in here. I'll call it S1. For some reason it crashes sometimes when I do that. And then you open up Charpad. Remember which one that is. It's this one. What you can do is you can start looking into that snapshot. So if you do import emulator snapshot, brings up this little window. It's quite hard to see, but I will hopefully try and demonstrate. You'll see things happen on these screens as I do this. So open the device snapshot. Let's dissect, and you can move around. You can look for the character set. So let's have a look until we find something. So we're looking at this screen at the moment. Let's also find something. There we go. So that looks like a character set. That looks like another character set. So it looks like there's two. Okay, so let's keep that one. I think this is going to be the map itself, and that tells you where that is. And then you can play with the tile sets as well. Work out how big the tiles are. Obviously, you need to know how big the tiles are for this. And I don't, so I'm guessing they're 2 by 2. So let's just click OK on there. Let's set this to 2 by 2. And let's do that again. Import. Let's go find our character set again. It's at D800. Smart place to put a character set, that, by the way. If you don't need to do any animation in the character set, so if you're not doing any parallax scrolling of particular characters in the character set, then it makes perfect sense to stick them under IO RAM, because you make use of an area which is a little bit more fiddly than normal to access. Thank you for the host, Don. Welcome to the stream. Actually, let's set the colours up. Oh, I can't at the moment. Fair enough. Okay, let's scroll through till we find a tile set. They're not always that obvious as well. Sometimes they're optimized and the data's stored in a slightly different format. So you've got a few different things for doing it in here, for changing things around. Map data format. Obviously, we don't know the size of the map either at the moment. But this isn't working on this one. But on some games you can get the full tile set pretty easily and have a play around with it and make your own levels and such. But this doesn't look like it's producing many tiles, to be honest. But that's fine. We can always find out where they are. I mean, sometimes you can just pick a random area like this and then start scrolling through the map data until you find something which looks like a map in terms of the shapes that appear. Obviously, you need to get the right height, and I have no idea what the height is, so I'm going to guess at 10. I have no idea what the width is either, so this could be map data. Anyway, let's not mess around too much in that. But that's a good technique for kind of looking at games and pulling out the assets from them. Okay, let's keep looking for some text. Just want to make sure there's nothing obvious in here, because there is some huge text scrolling across the screen here, so it is being read from somewhere. We can kind of look down here and see where it might be being read from. Look for the blue marks in the debugger. But I'm not seeing anything obvious, so I think what I'm going to do next, I'm going to actually search for that text. Okay. So you can do that with the hunt command. You should just be able to search for a piece of text, I believe. Do I have to use quotes here or something? Why can't I use quotes? What the hell? I think I've been here before trying to do this, and it took me ages to figure out where the quote was. Unfortunately, it doesn't follow your keyboard. Doesn't follow your keyboard layout from Windows. It just seems to do its own thing. Ah, there we go. Where was that? That one. Okay. No values entered. Okay, maybe it can't find text like that. It might be Vice that does that. That's fine though. We can search for the values. So A is 0, 1. Remember, this is PETSCII, not ASCII. So R is, oh god, what is that? ST. So R is 18. So that'd be 1, 2. Okay, not finding any of those. Why is it saying no values entered? Am I doing something wrong here? Streamer's disconnected. Damn it. Are we back? I wonder why that disconnected. strange. Okay. I've not had any problems with that for a couple of weeks, and the 5G light is still on, so I'm not sure what that was about. I just restarted the stream, which is a bit annoying, but yeah, the router's got flu. For some reason, I don't know why my hunt isn't working. It's really strange. I think I might have broken it trying to type strings in, so let me restart. It's truly been awful, this flu. The thing is, it absolutely floored me over the weekend. I couldn't do anything, but I just felt almost good enough to go to work on Tuesday. So I went in, and then I felt really bad, and then I came home, and it's just never ending. And I just want to get back to feeling great again. Okay, right, let's load the crack up. I don't know why it doesn't auto-run, but let's... Okay, let's try again. So, search for Andrew. Okay, at least we're getting results now, but we're not seeing Andrew. Now, one thing I have noticed sometimes is the IDEs or the kind of cross-platform assemblers that were being used back then would allow you to input ASCII in. So sometimes it's worth just checking the ASCII versions as well. Sorry, 65 is 41, so 44 and then 52. Okay, still nothing there. Okay, fine. That's not to worry. I'm sure we can work out where that text is coming from at some point. So what I wanted to do was change this text here. I think it'd be interesting to see if we can do that. But maybe this has been made using some kind of map. Oh no, because it's got high scores in it. So let's try looking for AB. Can't find that. Can't find that either. Okay, fair enough. I have no idea where that is then. I think Shannon got a computer virus, or did the computer get his virus? Yeah, who knows. It just will not freaking go though, that's the annoying thing. Alright, let's do the basics and let's put an infinite lives cheat in. Let's start with that. And we can dig in a bit more detail at some point. Actually, let's have a quick look at how this is actually working under the hood in the Vic Explorer. So there's no multiplexer going on here. It's just straightforward 8 sprites. It looks like one split at the top of the screen. Let's actually get in the game and pause it once we're in. So there is a character split up here, so this HUD up here is using a different character set to this down here. The mothership is made of sprites, made of 6 sprites, and our main sprite is a shadow sprite and a player sprite as well. And you can see that the shadow sprite isn't flickering on and off, it's just a solid shadow. It's interesting actually because it's showing over the background here, but it's not showing on here, so it might be a sprite priority thing. I don't know what the colours are on here. No, background is black. That sprite is... That's interesting. I'm trying to work out how that sprite's disappearing. So you notice that the shadow is not visible here. Yeah, I'm crashing, but So I want to look, is that sprite deforming as it goes over things? It's not. Okay, so let's slow it right down. It does seem to disappear though once it goes over the black area. I'm gonna die, aren't I? Oh no. Yeah, you'll notice when I go over the black area it disappears. So I'm not entirely sure how that's happening. I'd have to look into that in a little bit more detail. But that's a nice effect. See there? Actually, the sprite's in a different place on here to what we're seeing on the screen. Strange. Oh, because the screen has scrolled. Okay, so there is some X scroll going on here. Obviously, because the screen is moving. There is a special case about sprites going behind certain colours, but the colour that it seems to be going behind is the background, and there's no way it should be going behind the background. So I'm not entirely sure how that's happening. I'd have to look into that in a little bit more detail, but there's definitely something sneaky going on there. Because that sprite is grey. That sprite is definitely grey. Priority is foreground, you can see here, so it's supposed to be in front of everything. That's not changing as I move around. It's a standard colour, not multicolour, so it's high res, although it doesn't look high res, it is actually high res. Yeah, it's for some reason it's just not showing over the black area. Yeah, the black holes in the ship aren't background. The black holes in the ship are definitely colour. You see here the colour that's been set. So the multicolours that are being used are yellow and white. And there is definitely some smart kind of shadow masking going on here. The only thing I can possibly think of is that these aren't actually background characters here. They're actually filled in, but in that case the priority would be set and it's not, so I'm not sure. Sorry, pardon me. Okay, I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to go and blow my nose, have a cigarette, and when I come back we'll investigate a little bit more about how this is actually being scrolled, how it's scrolling so quickly. We'll try and find the copy routine. It's always interesting to see how things are being shifted in memory. It looks like colour RAM is the same all over, but we'll investigate that as well. And then we'll start adding some cheats in. We'll try and do a level skip, I guess, and an infinite lives. They'll be two easy ones to put in. Alright, cool. So I'll be right back, guys. Give me 2 or 3 minutes. Be right back. Yes, that definitely was an Acnafin level joke there. Yeah, I'm honestly confused about how that's working. I'm going to investigate that in a bit more detail if we get some time, because I'd like to know how that's done. I've seen other games that do similar with their shadows, and they mask against the background tiles, which is a slow operation, but if you're not doing too much cycle-wise, then you can usually get away with just stripping some data out. But yeah, that's an interesting effect. So let's see if we can find where the scroll routine is happening. So I'm going to switch back to memory mode somehow. There we go. So this is where the memory is being read from and drawn to the screen. And is it just copying the whole thing? So let's just advance a frame so we can see here we've got some areas that are being affected. So they seem to be interlaced, so it might be that the level is interlaced. So one row of characters, like odd number of the odd rows are the beginning of the level and the even rows are the end of the level, which is what it looks like is going on here. In fact, let's try and get to the end of the level and see what happens when we go off the edge here. I'll try and do this and stay alive as well at the same time. Thank you for the follow, Mine78. Oh, I just died. Too busy looking at my alerts. Okay, let's... you love reversing. Oh, you'd like this stream then. Doesn't always go to plan, but this one has gone fairly well so far. We're just trying to get to the end of this level so I can see what happens when the... Where's my fire? There it is. See what happens when the map reaches the end. So we're watching that blue square in the memory panel down there to see what happens. Yep, and sure enough it goes on to the next row. So let's pause at that point and go and have a look in detail. And now it's actually reading all the rows, which is interesting. It seems to be reading odd rows here, and now it's reading every row. I can't for the life of me think why it would be doing that. It might just be some kind of efficiency thing. Let's stick a breakpoint in on one of these addresses. So it's 8511. So we want to know when this is being read from and where it's being read to. I'm gonna a breakpoint won't do it here because we're not changing the values in here. We're only reading the values from here. It looks like they're being drawn into this area here though, judging by the pink. In fact, we can check that if we go in here. We can see where the screen is. So the screen is at 4800. So let's have a look at one of these locations here. So let's pick the very edge of the screen. So this is row 6. So let's bring up the calculator. We're on row 6, so 6 times 40 in hexadecimal is F0. So we're going to look at 48F0 and see where that's being written to. So we set a breakpoint to watch memory for any change greater than or equal to 0. So anything at all that gets written to that memory location. So as soon as this changes, we should get a breakpoint being hit. In fact, you can kind of saw it then as I went. Lost it there. The great thing with the debugger is when you move the pointer around, it shows you what code was being run at that point, where the raster was at that point. So you can see exactly what's going on all the time. And actually I can see there 2C22, so I'm just going to drop that there. See this line here? This is our copy. What was that? Thank you for the follow, Dr. Cheese Weasel. I really like that name. That's good. And thank you for the follow, Witchcraft, for you too. Welcome to the stream, guys. Do it now. Could you set sprite priorities under the background colour of it's black but not it's another colour? No, as far as I know, sprite priorities, if you set the sprite priority to go behind scenery, it will go behind, I can't remember which of them, it goes behind one of the multicolours and it goes behind the character colour, but it doesn't go behind the second multicolour or the background colour. Actually, looking at this, I noticed this is, it's doing what I thought it was doing. It is going behind because if you look, it's the border colour that's black, the background's actually white. And then there's shades of grey. So actually, yes, this is character colour. So it is going behind this. Although it says here that its priority is foreground, but I think that's lying. I think that's wrong. So it isn't quite as clever as I thought. I mean, it's still clever. It's clever use of colours, but it's not doing something I was unsure about. It is quite simple. You do some x86 reverse. Yeah, I've been trying to learn a lot of that recently. I've been using Ghidra to do reverse engineering of simple things like just like exercise programs, basically. Try and find out algorithms that determine CD keys and things like that. So yeah, it's a simple solution, but it is brilliant. and it works really well. And I think what they've very cleverly done here is the shadow is this grey colour, and so it will appear behind this grey colour, but because it's the same, it doesn't matter. So it appears behind this colour, and it appears behind the character colour, but it appears in front of these colours, which is why we see it on top of the lighter grey, and we see it in front of the white as well, which is the background colour. Yeah, IDA Pro. I've not used Cutter. I use a program called Hopper, which is pretty good for reverse engineering Objective-C stuff. So, okay, so that was another follow. Thank you, ZanFR1980, for the follow. Okay, cool. Right. So, with that in mind, we know this is where the map is being updated. This looks like the location that it's pulling from. I'm guessing that these values here are going to change as the map moves on. So I'm going to keep my eye on this value here. Hopefully I'm not in follow mode. 2C22. Okay. I want to see what happens as we move. Do these values change? Okay, so this value changes here. And this value, so there is some double buffering going on. You can see this 4.8 change to a 4B very briefly. I'm sure if we start the program, take that breakpoint out, start the program, we'll see. Actually, there is no double buffering going on. This is all done in a single buffer, but there was some code actually being updated here. There, you can see it there, 4A F8. So it's actually drawing 4A F8. Would that still be within the screen? Yeah, that's still within the screen. Oh, it's doing one half of the screen and then the other half of the screen. So it's doing it using the same loop. So there's some self-modifying code here, which looks like it is this bit here, which is doing the self-modifying, which is controlling which half of the screen to draw on. And where to get the data from. So as I advance it on, you can see it switches between top and bottom. So can't you double buffer for more colours or higher res? No, what double buffering does is it allows you to do some shifting over multiple frames. I think the reason why it's probably not done here is because this is a really fast scroller. So in order to make this work at that speed, scrolling more than 8 pixels in a frame, you can't really double buffer, because you would have to shift things twice. So I think it's just some smart loops to grab this stuff and put it here. It's actually kind of ingenious. I mean, it's a very small loop. It's not an unrolled loop. I was fully expecting to see an unrolled loop, but it's not. And it's not shifting the data, it's just grabbing it straight from the map. So our map is here, this block of text, this block of kind of memory here. Thank you for the follow, 8 Little Bits, and Zuckershirty17 as well. Good night, Dom. Thanks for joining, and thanks for the host, Chiz. So you can see as it moves along, it's reading the data from here and then plotting it directly into the screen, and it's literally just this block of code here that's doing the work. There's no unrolled code, nothing. It's very, very simple code. So let's actually put let's see where the entry point is for this. I think it's here, right? So let's put an entry point there, and let's have a look where the raster is when it starts. Okay, so have we hit that one? No, it looks like we've hit something else there. Or have I hit that? It would appear that I've hit that, but I don't think I have. It says I'm down here. Oh, I've got another breakpoint. Oh no, that's right, that's the one I want. U218. I don't know why it keeps breaking there. Let's reload it. this is the only problem with this debugger, is occasionally you do get some erroneous results with your breakpoints. I don't know why it's doing this, but every now and again it just does. Yes, indeed. And let's put our crack in. Oops. Type run in here. My guess is that the scroll register is moving, because of the way it's being copied directly from here. My guess is that the scroll register can move as much as it wants. It can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It really doesn't matter. I mean, obviously there's some kind of feeling of acceleration, so it probably isn't just every it probably isn't every value on there. In fact, we can check that actually if we have a look in here at the X scroll here. Start the game up. Where's that X scroll gone? Oops. Why is it showing that? Oh, there we go. Okay, so, oops. Actually, it's like the X scroll isn't. Oh, let's put it on there. There we go. X scroll is at 7 at the moment. I'm also dead. Let's slow it right down. Oh. It's hard enough playing this game anyway, but playing it in this emulator on keys is really difficult. Right, there we go. So if I go all the way to the end and turn around, I'll move at the. There we go. So I'm moving at slowest speed. So the X scroll is indeed 1 at this point. Let's see what happens when I advance a frame. I'm going to put the breakpoint at the beginning of our routine, which I think is here. Hopefully we should hit that. For some reason it breaks before that point every time, and I don't know why. Oh, there we go, right. So X scroll is 1. X scroll is 1. 7, 5, so we're moving at 2 pixels per frame here. And you can see this value here. Oops. This value here shows us what our X scroll is, and it's moving down. So as you move the X scroll down, the screen shifts to the left. Let's have a look where the raster is. So the raster is at line 66, so that's around about here somewhere. Actually, it's here. It's right at the edge. So it looks like it's racing the raster as well. So it starts doing the code at this point. Actually, just you see as we move up. If I go on 66 raster, it's as it reaches the edge of the screen, basically. So it reaches the edge of the screen, then it starts the scroll. And let's put another breakpoint at the end to see how long it actually takes to do the whole thing. So looking through this, the end is jump too soon. Let's jump back to the beginning again. It looks like that's our exit. So, or maybe not though, because it's not actually. It seems to be stepping through now. Oh, there we go. We're at the end. I'm pressing the wrong button. And now the raster is at 121, so that is down here. So actually it does take a lot to scroll that. It's taking most of the screen to do this. But it is, I'd say it's still probably got about 30% raster time. And because it's actually taken longer than this entire screen is length, so it starts around about this line and it finishes around about here, which is higher than the width of the higher sorry, it's more Y space than the map is high. So what's happening is, as soon as it gets 1 pixel past the beginning of the map, it starts redrawing this part of the map. Because the bad line has happened here, you can see the bad line here. Because the bad line has happened here, this row of characters has already been fetched. So even if you change these while it's still drawing them, you're not going to see that until the next frame. By the time it gets onto this line, it's already, the raster's already a lot further down. So it's been drawn from the top down, and it's been raced ahead of the raster. So it's just very clever use of cycles, really. And actually quite small code. I mean, if you compare this to a lot of code in quite advanced full color scrollers, this is less than, what, 128 bytes, 140 bytes or so. It's not a lot at all. It's just scrolling it quick enough that it's quick enough that it can stay just behind the raster. So by the time it gets down to here, the screen is complete. So when it comes to draw the next frame, it's drawing the next frame. And also you'll notice that the last column 39, doesn't have any character data in it, any relevant character data anyway. And that's because if you put the C64 into 38 column mode, you will never see this. No matter what scroll position you set, you will never see this column of characters. So there's no need to actually fill this column in. And if you have a look at, where is it? Here. So this is the counter, and it's counting down. So it's counting down from 26, which is this character here. And it's counting down to 0. And so there's no comparison instruction using branch plus for a nice efficient loop. Which means it's never actually touching these characters on this side. I'm doing an online course called From NAND to Tetris, where you build a virtual computer simulator around starting from NAND gates and find out the right types of Tetris on the computer you made. Has the stream died again? Please tell me it's not dead. No, it seems to be running for me. I'm not getting any messages or anything. I do have my backup if this 5G is being a pain. It's actually been really strong recently, so I think that was just a blip before. I'm not sure why that is. I have got an external aerial for it, so it should be pretty strong now. Cool. So that's how this game works. And the great thing about this game is its speed. And it's fast because there isn't a multiplexer. There's only 2 sprites for the player, one for the shadow, one for the main ship, and then 6 sprites for the enemies. And you'll notice that you only ever get one wave of enemies at a time. They appear on screen. Once they move off screen, they'll get removed and a different set of sprites will appear. So we can see that if I remove my breakpoints, resume the game, so they move off screen, and there you go. You can see various things spawn. Nice and simple. Is there anything else I want to look at in here? Oh, let's do some shooting and see how the shooting's being handled. Oops, wrong button. Okay, so excuse me, I need to blow my nose again. Goddamn ridiculous, this thing. It could actually be the Twitch server that I'm connected to. It might not be that great. I never know which one to connect to. I've just got it on auto. So okay, so the character bullets are the bullets are made from characters. You can see here there's a character here and a character here. They're not sprites. They'd have the red box around them. So let's go and have a look in the character set, because I'm interested to know if this is here we go again. There we go. I'm interested to know if this is if they are made on the fly or if they're always the same. It could be that there's just a couple of different sprites, different characters. For instance, one over black background, one over the light colour, and everything else would be ignored. Let's try and get some space in here while I do some stuff. Although it doesn't seem to be. It seems like they are being merged into the background at some point. So there is some kind of masking going on. But because the bullets are quite simple... Actually, I don't think there is. I think these bullets are the same all the time. I'm going to see if I can find them in here. Because if you look... Oh no, that one has got an edge on it here. So they are being merged into the background at some point. But because the character itself is a full width of a character, and because they're moving... let me put the... Let's go back to this mode. As you can see there, as it's trying to redraw things behind it. Let me put that breakpoint in again at the end here. Oh, it's already there. Okay. Let's get rid of that one. Let's keep that one on. You'll see they'll move a full character. It's the full width of the character, and they should move. In fact, they're moving quite fast, but they're never moving less than 8 pixels. They're always moving in multiples of 8. So there never has to be a blend on more than one character. So that's a massive advantage, because you only have to look at one character data. And because the bullet itself is 2 complete lines, all you have to do is take 6 lines of the original character and superimpose your bullet in the other 2 places. So it's quite a simple way of doing characters. They do merge into the background and they look absolutely perfect, so quite simple. And actually, if you play the game, there is an awful lot of them as well. It does feel like you can really pump out those bullets. You can really spam them all over the place. I've caused some errors because I've been clicking in the character screen. So I guess the only other thing to look at is how these stars are done, and then we'll add some cheats in. So let's pause on the star field. So star field, the characters again. You'll notice that they're static. So as the map scrolls on, I don't know if you can see that, they're jittering around, and what's happening there is whatever the scroll is set to, the stars are scrolled in the opposite direction by the same amount over and over again, just to keep them in place. We use the same technique on Luna, actually. Thank you for the follow, Retro CRT. Welcome to the stream. So on the little additions I made to Luna before we submitted it, I did the same thing. I created some stars, and whichever speed the background was scrolling at, I scrolled the stars the same amount in the opposite direction, just to keep them static and in the same place. Actually, no, I don't. I have 8 different characters, and I redraw them, which actually would have been easier if I had scrolled them. So thinking about it, I should have done it this way. I've done it this way for all other games, but I didn't think of doing it that way for some reason for Luna. Okay, cool. Nothing else special here. This is just a different character set that's being used for the top side of the screen. Nothing else special down here. The height of the player is just a matter of moving the player sprite towards the shadow as you land. So as you know, in this game, the objective is to kind of stay alive long enough that you get the landing message. Why can't I unlock that? What's going on? Okay, I can't. Oh, there we go. So I mean, I probably can't do it with this, but at some point you'll get a landing message, and then when you hit the runway, your sprite will move down towards the shadow to create the illusion of you kind of landing. I can't even stay alive that long. Oh yeah, there we go, there's the landing strip. Oh yes. Oh, interestingly, it fires both when you press down and when you release as well, which is nice. There we go. Actually, it's the shadow that moves towards the player. Oh, and yeah, you've got this bonus screen as well. I mean, I'm not going to go into this screen. This is relatively straightforward. But I always found this an interesting screen, actually. I always liked having a go at this. Oh, the Destruct Sequence. This is probably a good one to look at. So, one thing to note about the Destruct Sequence, I'm going to pause it before it starts, is... So what happens in the auto-destruct sequence is you fly back along the level. You can't turn backwards, you can only go one direction. But as you fly along, the level is destroyed behind you. Now, the way that the map is loaded in means it's quite easy for Braybrook to clear up the level as you fly through it by just removing blocks as you go along. And because there's no enemies, you can use sprites to cover up where the things are being removed. So the Destruct Sequence seems, you know, quite complicated, but actually it's going to be relatively simple. So you can see this pink line here. This is the map being cleared. So this is this area being written to. We're still reading as usual, but you'll see as we go along that this moves a little bit quicker than this blue bar. So this will be being written to the map, slowly but surely moving ahead of the player until it moves off screen, and at the same time there'll be some sprites placed in those locations as well. You can see it's starting to overtake, and as it goes along it gets ahead. Actually, the sprites aren't showing up correctly, or is that how it goes? I thought it exploded as it went along, but yeah, cool. And then yeah, new level, new character color for the background so the shadows work. Actually the shadows are black this time. So black must be the colour. So whichever the darker of the relief colours is the one that is the kind of the shadow will appear behind, as well as the foreground colour. Right, cool. Let's do some hacks. I am going to try and come up with a way of adding better monitor support in here to search for hacks. So if you've used Action Replay, you'll probably already know that it's a very, very simple task to find to find infinite live cheats and things like that. I thought there was an explosion animation. I'm sure the level exploded as you went along. I think it's probably just because it's in the debugger, it's not showing correctly. Yeah, so with Action Replays, it's a really easy task to just search for a memory location. So you can do something like this, search for 3 lives, and obviously you get all of these memory addresses. But with Action Replay, what you can then do is start the game, lose a life, and then search again for 2, and it will narrow it down. It will compare the existing values against the second set of values. Now, I don't know if that's something that you can do in this monitor. I've never been able to figure out how to do it. I did write a script to do this for me, but I'm going to show you how I've been doing it with games so far. So the way I do it is first of all I find out where the lives are being drawn on screen. They're being drawn here, and then I work out where that's being written from. So I go into the screen menu here, have a look, I find this memory location. So this is the screen is at 4800, and this is column 8, row 0, so 4808. And then I go in here, I put 4808, and that just tells the debugger to break whenever that value gets changed, and then I begin the game. And then when I lose a life and that value changes up here, it should be pretty quick. I'm not even going to attempt to die, I'll just die automatically. Yeah, there's one in the middle here. There we go. Now that value gets changed, and the game has paused. It's broken at this point here, and we can see this is the instruction that changed that value. So the first thing I notice is that this value is being read from 0 page. It looks like all these things are in 0 page. So let's go and have a look down at the 0 page area and see what we can see. I'm going to keep that breakpoint there for now and get rid of it from here. Let's get rid of that one. And let's go and have a look. So 0 page B0. So this is the indirect lookup for the screen, which is indeed 4808, like we said, little endian format. B6 is this value here. So this looks like our lives. It could just be that simple. So let's try putting 09 in there and restarting. Oh no, see, it's changed to something else now. So just going to write that value down so I remember it. If I can find my pen. B2DF. We just need to work out where it's getting that value from. This could just be a writer routine which writes to a given location, so we can find out where this is being jumped to if this doesn't work. So I've still got 2 lives. I've changed that to 9 and then it's changed again, so I don't think that's the correct location. Let's just fly into that area where I will die. Yeah, it's not that location. Okay, so what we can then do is we can see what calls this function. So if I jump to B2DF, 2DF, there we go. So it looks like this there's a routine here that's being called whenever something's written to the screen. See, it's broke now at this point, but something is causing it to be called. So we need to know where it's getting that value from. So it's taking the value in B360 and storing it at B1, and then taking the value in B379. So let's go and have a look at those locations. That's this and this. So this looks like this is row lookups. So this is the most significant bit of a row. This is the least significant bit, and you can see as we move along, they're moving up by 40. So this is a row table lookup. So this is actually working out where to draw things on screen. Hence why it's being stored at B1 and B0, because it's being indirectly addressed here. Yeah, okay, I think this value in B6 is getting written somewhere else. So let's see that all the places that call that routine. So if we do a hunt for 20, which is jump to subroutine, and then C6 B2. Okay, there's only 3 places that call this. The one is here, which is taking the value 15 and storing it and then drawing it somewhere. B1 E3. Actually, it's not taking the value 15, it's taking the value from 0F in memory. So let's just put a breakpoint on that. Thank you for the follow, Bygra16. Welcome to the stream. Is that indirect addressing stuff self-modifying code? It's a way of avoiding using self-modifying code in some cases. It has other uses as well, but one of the big uses is to avoid having self-modifying code. So let me give you an example. Say you've got a piece of code and you want to create you want to store this in some location. So I always use the word beef when I'm doing self-modifying code, like that. So if I want to modify this, I change these 2 bytes here, and that's fine. That's fairly efficient and pretty good idea. But say I also want to I don't know, do something else with this address as well. So I mean, it doesn't really matter if it's logical code or not. say I want to do that and I want to modify both of these to the same address, that's now 4 bytes I have to look up. However, if instead I store those values in 0 page, so these 2 bytes in 0 page, I can then just have you know, some 0 page address, comma y, and just set y to 0. You can also use it for kind of looking up screen addresses very quickly. It's a really good way of doing screen row and column. So you set this to the beginning of a screen row, and then this is your column. It's got a lot of uses, but it can be used to get around using self-modifying code. It's usually a good idea when you're optimizing to see if you can use it in some way. There's a few techniques. Actually, if you look at the code for Luna that we did, there's a few places in there. In fact, I use indirect 0 page X addressing as well in there for doing the stars. So you think you almost understood that. So basically what it does is you put an address into 0 page. So if this is 0 page here, and we start at, say, address 90, and then you can put some bytes in here. So if I put 00 C0, and then here I do load y with 1, load accumulator with 90, comma y. What that's going to do is it's going to, first of all, it's going to look at the 0 page address 90, which is here. Going to get this address, so this now becomes C00, and get rid of the brackets, comma y. So now it's actually loading, it's the equivalent of doing that. But it allows you to kind of store the addresses somewhere, so you can change it in one location and just reuse that kind of 0 page address everywhere, and when you update it here, all of those addresses update simultaneously. That's about as good as I can explain at the moment, I think. Okay, so I'm just going to put another breakpoint in for this other one, which is here. Oh, this is an interesting one. Branching minus B2C5, jump B2B0. Okay, I'm going to put a breakpoint there as well. Okay, so these are the 3 locations that are calling that function. So let's have a look. So this one's being called all the time on the intro, so I don't think it's that one. So let's go into the game. B1CC, let's go and have a look at that one. So this is loading, both of these are loading from 0F, so let's go and have a look at 0F in, which is this one here, which is 3.0 at the moment. So I don't think it's that. They're both 0F. There's no 03. But these are the locations that are actually doing that. So again, it could be that this function is being called from somewhere else. Let's scroll all the way back up. Let's have a look here. Could it be that? Yeah, it's jumping into this location. There's an RTS before it, so we know this is probably the entry point for this. So let's go and have a look. B1, B4. Okay, it's quite a few areas that are doing this. So let's go and have a look. 0A, 1, 0. Okay, that's nothing here jumps out as number of lives. X04 maybe, but that's not that one. A18. Is that one there? A10, is that one there? So it's not those. OB96. yeah, so this routine is, it stores a value in a location, B1, B9, and then jumps to this address. So what I'm looking for here is some load accumulator that's either the number 3 for the number of lives, or some other address which would indicate where the life counter is being stored. And so here's one which is storing values in strange places actually. Probably not that one. Let's carry on looking. Oh God, my nose is really sore. It's got like a sting. It's not good. Okay, it's another one here. Don't think it's that one. This isn't going too well in terms of finding, so I'm gonna, in a second, I'm gonna copy over the cheat finder file that I created, a cheat finder script that I created, and put it into our project, and I'll show you how that works. 2515. Okay, load accumulator with 18. If it's equal, jump to 2523, which is interesting because, so we look at 18, that's this one here, but you see again that's not the number of lives, that's the number 3. Bring on the Node.js. I'm not going to go through how the node works, but I'm gonna demonstrate how the program can actually find these things. Okay, let's do that now. Okay, so let me just grab my cheat finder. It's in here, and I can't remember for the life of me how this works, so I'm just going to quickly try and launch it. First file name, second file name, initial values. Let's change that. All right, okay. Now I use my bot code for my Be Right Back screen. I haven't used any of the bot code yet. I've not had time to do it. I keep getting distracted doing other things. I need to spend some time and really kind of spruce up the stream kind of stuff. I just keep forgetting to do it. I've got so many other things on. I'm working on like, oh God, 1, 2, 3, 4 games. I'm still trying to learn. No, 5 games actually. Still trying to learn some new demo tricks as well. I've got some ideas how to use some of the stuff I've been doing in games, and work and streaming and write-ups as well. So I will get around to it at some point. I do want to do it because I really want a SID kind of jukebox thing. That's my main aim with this. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to save out the memory here. So all I need to do is just save out the entirety of the memory. I'm going to put it into a folder. I'm going to call it 1. Let's save there as 1.bin. And then I'm going to lose a life. I'm going to save that out and call it 2. More games, less demos. Yeah. Is the cheat find script open source? It's. I will put it in. I will put it in the GitHub repo as well. So if you check out the GitHub repo and follow on there, once I'm done with this stream, I'll upload the latest. I'll upload this episode into the Dissect stream, and you'll be able to just pull out the dissect there. I mean, it's really simple. I can very quickly show you, but it is incredibly simple. Oops. So it just takes 2 files and then compares them compares them and compares two values within those. So I'll show you it working now. Okay, so let me just clear this screen because it gets really messy. So it wants the first file name, which is 1, and the second file name, which is 2, and then the values that we're looking for. So we're looking for the value 03 being changed to 02. It's found 5 matches, so I can go and have a look in memory at these matches. Oh, JS docs. Yeah, you have to navigate my GitHub. My GitHub is literally just a dump. I don't use GitHub normally, I use Bitbucket. But when I started doing this, I think GitHub was the kind of preferred platform. So I just dump everything on there. I really don't do much in the way of documenting things or anything. So yeah, it just diffs the two memory dumps, looking for this value changing from this to this. So we're going to have a look at those areas in memory. So 2.5 is this value here, so let's see what happens if we start the game. It's always worth checking 0 page first because it's just one of those places that seems sensible to put player live. So it's 02 now, it's gone down to 01. Let's change it to 09. I think we may have just found it, which I could have probably found just by looking. So it's not updating here because it hasn't changed, or it thinks it hasn't changed. And yeah, there we go. That's our lives there. So what we can look for now we know that, is we can look for the place that it's decremented. So if we look for the DEC 0 page command, it is C6. So then we can hunt for C6 25. Okay, it's not that, so it's probably loading into a register. So let's try loading X and loading Y, which is, let me find that. So X is A2 and Y is A0. It's neither of those. Maybe it's the accumulator then. Ah, there we go. So there's 4 locations where that's loaded into the accumulator. So let's go and have a look at those locations. Oops, take my breakpoint off. Get the breakpoints off. 099E. Oh, wait, that's like immediate mode. I didn't want immediate mode, I wanted 0 page. So sorry, that's A4, A5 and A6. So let's start with A4. No. A5, yes. A6, no. Okay, so we've got a few more locations here. Did I do immediate mode? Oh no, I can't do immediate mode. No, there we go, right. Yeah, I think it probably is an SBC. So, in fact, let's try just searching directly for that. So, A525, so it's loading the accumulator with the contents of memory address 25, and then an immediate mode subtract, so there would be an E9 directly after it. There could be a set carry flag in there as well, but let's just check that. Okay, OD79 is looking promising. Oops. Yep, there we go. So it's working in decimal mode. So we'll find, actually, if we change this to 09 again, just to make sure I don't. Yeah, okay, so we're back to 8. But if I change that to 0F, I'm not sure what will happen here because it's in decimal mode. So instead of 15 lives, I'm not sure what's going to happen. Might just go back down to 8 again. No, it creates a. It does actually decrement it, but it's not showing correctly in here because it's using decimal mode to pick it up. But this is the line here that's causing our lives to decrement. This is the game over function here. Actually, no, this isn't the game over function. This OD's E8 is not game over. So this is game over here. this is what happens if it's not game over. So this is like the respawn function. So if I put that breakpoint here, you should see when we go to respawn. There we go, it hits that point. So to make an infinite lives cheat, we go back to our code that we started writing. Thank you for the follow, Good Gulp. Welcome to the stream. I'm going to show you in a minute actually the starting soon screen that I did. Actually, I'll quickly show you the starting soon screen. So this screen. So I looked at that in the debugger earlier on, and it looks awesome. The way that the code is, being read from lookup tables. It's kind of funky. So I'll show you that in a minute. Okay, so all we need to do, we need to change that command wherever it's gone. This one here. So instead of subtracting 0, we can either knock it out, or we can just subtract. Instead of subtracting 1, we can either subtract 0 or subtract knock it out twice. But we'll do a subtract 0. So it's OD7B. So all we do is go into our code where the patch is. We create a link to OD7B. Give it a label so we know what it is. And we just do subtract 0. And that should be it. That's the simplest way to activate infinite lives. So if we try that out now in here. Yep, there we go. We've got infinite lives. Lives aren't going down now. Cool. And 2 bytes changed gives us infinite lives. But I'm going to show you that that effect that I did today. Well, yesterday. Let me just open it in a new window actually. Open recent. Experiments, there we go. So it started, I saw this. This is a piece of code that came from Codebase 64. And it's a really cool demonstration of what you can do with the FLI effect. You've probably seen these in demos before. They're called rotators or twisters for obvious reasons. And it uses FLI to create all these colours and this nice displacement. So I looked at that and thought I want to try and emulate that effect. I tried a few different things to create the data for that. It's quite hard to create the data for that. They use a C program to create it. So instead I went for a rolling road. So I created a very simple road in here. So I'm deviating a little bit, but I'm kind of trying to build up to the cool debugger view of it. So I just want to show you how it's built first. It's really, really simple. The screen, the colours change depending on what's going on. So this is how it looks for the road, and then this is just offset in various places. So this is offset over 13 screens. They use the C program to create the data for that. So the data that defines the 3D object is created in C. It defines how all the shading works and stuff, and then that's converted into binary data that can be read by the FLI program. And yeah, and then this is how it looks in here. So there's 2 things going on here. One is this FLI effect here, so that road is just displaced and rasters are animated through it. There's this very, very basic kind of scenery in the background, and then there's some sprites bouncing behind here. But the interesting thing about this is how it looks when you look at it in the debugger. Good night, Chiz. Thanks for joining, and congrats on your first stream. It's cool. You need to see more of that. So if you look in here, look at that. Look how cool that memory Look. So these are the screens that make up the road. There's 13 of them in total, and as it moves along, depending on which way it's going, whether it's moving left or right, this unrolled code is either shifting left or shifting right. This is completely unrolled code that does all the magic tricks down here, and this is the lookup for the screen data. And it just looks really cool. I like how it kind of visualizes what you're seeing on screen as well. Shimmering road, yeah, exactly. It's a Shallan Shimmer special. But anyway, I thought I'd show you that. I am going to make these effects, because as I do these, I'm kind of experimenting with them. I will drop them into... I've got an effects test thing in my GitHub. I'm just going to drop some stuff in there as well, every now and again, for you guys to have a play around with and do what you want with it. Right, I'm going to take a quick 2-3 minutes break, again to go and blow my nose, because it feels horrible at the moment. Have a quick cigarette, then when I come back we will have a think about what other things we can add to Uridium. So if you guys have got any ideas of what we can look at next, let me know. Have a think while I go and have a break, and I'll be right back in 2-3 minutes. And I'm back. Oh. Jump to last level. Oh, a level skip, actually. That's not a bad idea. So let's play through the game a little bit, and let's find where the landing sequence is initiated. So I've got infinite lives now, so actually I don't have infinite lives in this version. Let me just fix that. Change this value here. Where was it? There it is. Why can't I edit that? Oh, I've got to find the hash symbol. There we go. Okay, I should have infinite lives now. So we're going to try and get... Oh, I've got to do it without dying, so... Earn a button to turn collisions on and off. That's not a bad idea. Yeah, like those collisions. A button to turn comes out. Okay. I used to be really good at this game. Not so much anymore. So looking for landing sequence initiator. I'm going to slow it right down now. Hopefully it'll appear pretty soon. Actually, let's speed it up until... I'm not sure if you can do the rewind yet, actually. No, it doesn't look like it. Just kind of dance around here for a bit until the landing... There we go. Right, land now. So I'm going to pause here. Okay, so what I'm looking for now is where the code is going to go to at the end of this sequence. So this seems to be the sprite update. Return in here. Somewhere in here there's going to be a jump to somewhere new. I can find it. Okay, there's a couple of jump subroutines here. 2F, let's have a look at what's in 2F. That's this value here. So it's getting stuck in this loop until that hits 0. I don't know what is changing that value. Oh, thank you for the bits, Wolfgang Blitz. Shamrock 100s. Thank you very much. Very much appreciated. Challenge shimmer. Okay, I don't know why. Let's just change it to 0 so we can jump straight into it. There we go. Okay, 2A17. So I'm going to write these addresses down because these look like they could be useful addresses. And before we disappear from this, so 2F seems to go from 01 to 0, and then at that point we hit the line 13C3. What is this actually doing? Let's do it in this mode. Doesn't seem to be doing anything on screen. Okay, I'm going to jump back to that location. I'm going to put a breakpoint on the very last one. I'm going to put a breakpoint here. I'm going to put one here. And I'm going to put one here as well. There's also this ink 62. I'm not sure what that is. That's this value here. Thank you for the follow, Wolfgang Blitz. Okay, so we've not done anything at this point. Still not done anything. And then we hit an RTS. So let's go and see where that takes us to. Wow, there's a jump here. This looks like it could be interest. Let's go and turn those breakpoints off everywhere except that one. Okay, we didn't hit that point, and now we're in a completely different area of memory. Let's try and find out where that is entered. Seems to be this location here, so 11F 114E, so let's have a search for that. So it'd be 4E11 147E. So yeah, this looks like it is going to be the. So okay, so this breakpoint here is going to be hit when we come out of this sequence. So oh, I died. I don't know why I died. So I'm going to leave that breakpoint in there. I'm going to try and get to that point again. So I need to be in the middle. I need to go down. Oh, and I need to not die as well. So in the middle. Oh shit, I hate those things. Down. Okay, now I just need to kind of stay alive. Okay, so now I need to play through this section. Oh, 1140. Oh, I've still got a breakpoint there. Okay, so we've got a breakpoint at the start of that sequence. I'm going to write that down. So 1140 is the start of the what would you call it? I guess it's like a bonus. Yeah, all that scrolls theme. You. Yeah, that's the thing. It's really hard to play this game at full speed. Okay, I don't really care what happens here. And there we go. We reach this point, 1480. Which seems to be. Let's have a look at A8. A8 is this 08. It's not 0 and it jumps to here, so let's jump into this point straight away. Let's check that. Yep, it does indeed. 17cc. So this is our destruct bonus, and also it looks like it's also the end of kind of level sequence as well. Oh, and then it doesn't jump straight back into here. That's interesting. Okay, let's see if we can 1480. Let's see if we just jump to 1480. Do we complete the level? So we'll pause. Put 1480 up here. Let's see what happens when we resume. Okay, we've got a breakpoint there. Okay, nothing apparently. So we can't jump to 1480. Let's try 114E. That's not good either. I think our breakpoints got no other breakpoints. Let's go and have a look at 114E and see what's going on. This is what we're asking it to run from. Let's load up the latest version of our crack, which is no longer there. Let's do it from in here. Let's try a few things. So first thing I'm going to try is setting that value to 0 that was in 2F. So let's start the game. So let's speed back up. And let's go and have a look at this 2F location. So, yep, this is 2F. If I just set that to 0, what happens? Okay, nothing happens if I just set it to 0, so it's not going to be that one. Let's try jumping to some of these locations. So 13C3 did nothing. 114E, let's try that one again. Oh, there we go. So we need the bit of code just before that. So we'll find out where that's been jumped to. 147E, let's go and have a look at that. Let's play through this. But it does all sorts of weird stuff. That's because it's not cleared up the level properly, so we're never actually completing the level. So 147E, let's go and have a look there. So that's this chunk of code here. I don't know why it's crashed, hasn't it? Because of that. Let's see what's the leads up to this location. So this is actually turning the sprites off, loading it. So this looks like a possible location. Let's see if we can find an RTS before all of this. So 1413 is looking quite promising. So again, let's load our crack in. Yeah, it locks up a lot, this thing. 1413. Let's write that down. So what we're trying to find is the routine that clears up the level and starts the bonus. Let's pause it. let's go to 1413. Start it. Ah, that did indeed made us land. It forced us to land. So I wonder what happens when we play through the level now. Okay, is it going to start us from the right end, or is it going to start us in a weird place? Okay, it flies us all the way to the end. Then it's going to do the turnaround, and then it's going to do the destruction. But we've got some kind of entry point now to force that bonus. Oh. What? Okay, it's done something very odd. So not quite there, but we've got something. So we'll find out where that is being hit from. Yeah, alright, let's have a search for 1314. Okay, we've got two places where this has been accessed, so 0483. I don't think it's going to be this one. Let's just sheer luck that that byte sequence exists. So 0E, 1A. Okay, we've got a couple of interesting ones here. Is there one that's jumping over this? Doesn't seem to be. Something is getting to this point though, and this is what's triggering our end sequence. I'm just trying to see if there's any jump to this location. This is where the disassembler is actually really useful as well. So we'll bring up the disassembly and go to where is it? OE19. So this line here. When I click on it, I can see these arrows appear at the side. I can also see where this is being jumped to from. So it's being jumped from OD3E, which is here. So there does seem to be a lot of clear up here, and then it jumps to this location. Is there anything that's jumping into here? There's some branches that are happening. OCFD, let's try that one. Where'd you get this from? What, from the disassembler? The disassembler is called Infiltrator Disassembler. You can get it on CSDB. It's really handy. If you watch I think you missed the first bit of the stream. If you watch the first bit of the stream, I'll show you. It shows you how to use it to find the entry point for the programs. So let's try starting the game and jump into that location. Was it OCFD? Okay. Whoa. How's that? What? I haven't changed anything. I think the disassembler was just going crazy. I definitely recommend loading a game up in it, so you can see if you go into it, it's got really nice views like sprite views and stuff, so you can look through all the Vic banks and see where the sprites are very easily. Put it in multicolor mode, obviously you get better see exactly where the sprites are in memory. You can also see bitmaps as well, so if you're looking at demos or games that use bitmaps, you'll be able to see those. You can also see sign tables as well. So, I mean, you can't see any in here at the moment, but if there are sign tables, you'll be able to see very clear sine waves in here. There are none in this game though, so it's kind of useful. It's got a hex editor. It can load in vice snapshots, or it can load in a PRG, and then it can disassemble and show you, character sets, and yeah, it can show you quite a lot. It's quite useful. I don't know why that's not showing up any characters. Oh no, that's not where the character font is. I can't remember where the character font is now, but oh, there's screens, char sets, yeah, but yeah. There might be some very small tables for the enemy attack waves, but I doubt they're going to be big enough to see on the sign thing in here. I mean, can I make that smaller? Fortunately, it's not the nicest thing to look at, this bytes per second. Yeah. But I'm sure somewhere in here there's some kind of lookup tables for those. But God knows where they'd be. They won't be massive anyway. Oh, that might be them there. These lines here. Yeah, it's a really useful tool. I wouldn't have been able to do as much kind of investigation without it, and it's something I discovered as doing this as well. So I can't remember who it was. Somebody mentioned it on stream, and to be honest, it's the only thing I've used now when I'm looking into code in any detail. Okay, joystick on. Let's start the game. Hopefully it's not broken this time. I don't know what was going on the last one. Okay, and we're in. I'm going to pause the game. I'm going to jump to OCFD. And okay, that didn't do anything. Oh, I do still have infinite lives though. But let's go and have a look at OCFD again in here. See what it's actually doing. Oh no, OCFD is there, so maybe we want to be before that. Maybe we want to be OCDB. Let's try that one. When I'm actually flying, OCDB. Oh no, that just restarts me. OCDB. Okay. So that's a respawn. Write that down. CDB equals restart. Thank you for the follow, Reactinator. Welcome to the stream. Okay. So this is the beginning of the game. These are the routines. Branch if OCF0. Okay, I'm trying to work out what is actually going on in this location. Now I'm going to jump to that location, go and have a look. OCFD. So this is our comparison instruction here. It's crashed again. OCFD. No, or was it OCDB? Sorry. Crash, crash, crash. Change the Manta to a helicopter. That could be done. Could definitely be done. But to be honest, I'm more interested in playing around with code than I am in it with anything else. I'm surprised actually how simple the code is. It's one of those things where this could have been very over-engineered, but it's just done in such a neat and tidy way that it's no wonder it can all fit into one load. I mean, there's probably other games like this that would have taken, a full disk, a multi-load, and this works completely from one PRG, and I think it's just down to the simplicity of the code. It's clever, really. Okay, so OCDB. So this is our entry point. I'm going to stick some breakpoints along here to see what's happening at various points. I'm going to put one there. I'm going to put one there as well. And I accidentally put one in another place. That one there. I don't want that one. Okay. Okay, so this is our entry point. We know that. We've hit this location already. This value in 2F never seems to be anything other than where is it? 2F other than 1. If I put 0, 0 in there, just keeps coming back to this location again. So one of these is checking to see if we've finished. So are we ever hitting that one? We are hitting that one. 62. That's this one here. That's some kind of timer that's constantly ticking up. E019. Is that timer again, so it's using that trick that we use in well, in the game that we've been doing, and I use it all the time, where you have a timer and you AND it with a couple of low bits, and now you've got a timer that cycles from 0 to 7. Still getting in here. Only give me 85. There we go. What's that? If it's plus, otherwise jump to OE19. OE19. I'm sure I wrote that down before. Yes. So. Okay. Interesting. So it's looking for this value 85, which is this one here. And if it's plus, it's carrying on. So if I set that to 80, it's now negative. I want to see what happens. Okay, we found a different way. Okay, so making 85 negative also finishes. I wonder if this is actually going through the proper channels now. So okay, it's doing the fly to the end. Doing the destruction. And the question is it doing the proper end? Okay. Why is it? Oh, because I've got breakpoints in. Let me get rid of some of these breakpoints. Let's just turn them off. Boom, we've got another level. Okay, so all we need to do is set the value in 85 to negative. So this value here, if I set this to anything 80 or above, we'll complete the level. Cool, so this looks like it's a game state. So C0 is the bonus, 80 is game complete. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to find an entry point where we can do some checks. So we'll follow the code around a little bit. We know there was a loop round about, where was it? It was around here somewhere, wasn't it? Let's get the game going first and then let's kind of around here. Can't remember the exact point. OCDB actually, there we go. So this was our entry point here. And then there was this loop that was checking a value. Where was it? This one here. So OC F9. Okay, so I know that this line is going to get hit every single frame that we're in this game. So if I start the game now, you see it's constantly pink. So what we're going to do is we're going to replace that value, or replace that check even, and do it somewhere else. This looks like it's some kind of timer. So it continues to do this until this value hits 0. So what we're going to do, we're going to put in the same code in here. So this is where we want to replace code, and we need somewhere to put it. So I think there was space, wasn't it in, yeah, Commodore Basic. Here we go. So the Commodore Basic screen. So we can put our code in here. So this is where we're going to put our code. So the code we're going to replace takes up 4 bytes. So we've got load accumulator with 2F. I'm going to write it in here. Load accumulator with 2F, and then a branch back to that line. So yeah, it just, does it branch back to that? Yes, it just branches back to that same line. So if it's not equal to 0, then we go to there, and then do an RTS, and that will escape out of this function. And then in here we need to jump to that location. Now this is only 3 bytes, and we're replacing 4 bytes, so we need to put a NOP in the end here. This just wastes 1 byte. It wastes 2 cycles as well, but it wastes 1 byte. So now this is doing exactly the same as it was before. But what we can do is, instead of just immediately jumping back and carrying on, we can grab the value in DC01. So this is joystick port 1, which isn't used in this game. Well, actually it will be used in 2-player. Oh no, it won't, because you take it in turns. So I assume it wouldn't anyway. Maybe it does use 2 joysticks, but for now we'll do it with this. We'll do it with the space bar. So we take the value in here, we AND it with 1, 0, and if it's not 0, if the result is not 0, then we jump to here and we exit. If it is 0, however, that means that the spacebar has been pressed. And at that point, we'll take the value 80, and we'll store that at 85. So now, if we run this, oh, we've got code in the screen space now. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to move that code forward a little bit. I'm going to put it at the end of the screen space and do it there. You'll see it down here. See the code appear. So now, when we run, we've got infinite lives, and if we press spacebar, we should basically exit the level. So press spacebar. It's not working for some reason. I thought it was. Oh, wait a minute. Have I got joystick settings? Key set B, joystick 1, none. There we go. Okay, cool. Oh, why is that not picking it up? Have I done something wrong here? What have I done? Let's just turn the joystick off completely for a second. That should be enough for detecting spacebar. Not very good with keyboard stuff, so I thought that would have done it. So Oh, okay. Well, that's not what I thought. Apparently that, but I'll actually not. Yeah, okay. It looks wrong to me, but whatever. I need to look at why that works in a minute, if it does work at all. Let's start the game. And then press spacebar. Spacebar is not working. Okay, let's put it in the debugger. Let's actually make sure that that code is being reached. It might not be being reached. You can see our code. This is our code that we've created. So code's definitely there. And now let's go and jump to that location. Oops. And just make sure we are getting to that. Yes, we are. So the accumulator is FF at the moment. If I hold down... Actually, if I hold down space, it's going to break. Right, okay. Oh, why does it do this? Oh, there we go. Right. It doesn't seem to be allowing me to read that value for some reason. I think I might need to set it up somewhere. Thanks, man78. Good night. Sleep well, mate. Okay. Oh, okay. I need to tell it to start reading the keyboard. I'm being stupid. So I was right the first time here. But the first thing I need to do is do this to be able to actually read the keyboard at that point. I think I might need to turn the keyboard off again at some point. Just double check what that's actually doing. So if I write a value, select keyboard column. Oh, okay, that should be fine. I think. Let's give it a try. Are you getting to know Andrew Bayer? What I've learned reading this is that he wasn't one for over engineering. I'm surprised at how simple this code is. It's not complicated. It's just clever. Oh, there we go. So that worked. Okay. I need to make sure I can actually use the joystick as well. I might have broken joystick code doing this. Nope, so joystick code is working fine. I can't turn around, which is expected on this part. So I go through the destruction. And there we go. So hopefully when I come into this level, I'm going to check that I can control in all directions, and then I'm going to press space to quit the level. So yes, I can turn around, yes I can shoot, I can go up and down, press space, immediately land into the bonus. Cool, so we've got space to skip now. So I'm going to put that in here. Space to level skip. Somebody else should level skip Destruct Sequence. Possibly, but you might want the bonus points anyway at the end. You can't die when you hit that point, so I think for the simplicity of just kind of getting through, we could go through the debugger a little bit more and figure out where that's actually happening. But yeah, I mean, for now, as a functional level skip, this is absolutely fine. Although this did seem to bring me back to the same level again. I don't know if that's just me not paying attention, but let's have a look. Because if it doesn't take us to the next level, it's no good, right? Yeah, has taken us to the next level. There we go, cool. So, yeah, a level skip. Someone said something else. Oh, collision. Well, first of all, let's see if Sprite Collision is a thing. Let's... where is it again? I think 2 settings. So first of all, just turn off Sprite to Sprite Collisions. See if that has any effect on the game. If it does, then a no. And a kind of enemy bullet and enemy mine to ship collisions we can turn off very quickly. I forget how far I got in this. I think I got to like level 7 or 8 or something without cheats. I didn't have cheats back in the day. I played this before I even got my Action Replay cartridge, so I had a reset switch, but I had no idea how to look for stuff at that point. Okay, so I've got Sprite Collision turned off. I'm going to hang around this mine until it launches, which it should do at some point. That is a mine, isn't it? Yeah, I think it is. Right, there we go. Okay, those bullets aren't sprites, so that's not going to be any good for us, but I want to see if we can turn off the mines. I thought that was a mine, but apparently not. Oh no, that's the mine, isn't it? Come on. Or am I remembering wrong? I'm definitely going to do Tapper, actually. It's a really good idea. But yeah, why don't we do, if what you want to see is graphics updates, I'm going to skip this level because I don't see any mines coming out. I'll try and do that for the next stream. I'll make it a graphical update so we can try and play around with the graphics. I'd like to do a stream at some point where we take a game, say Bubble Bobble would be a good example. I really don't want to touch Bubble Bobble again, to be honest. But a game like that with lots of kind of tiny levels, or even Uridium would work as well, and just create a way for you guys to import your own maps into it as well, so you can create your own versions. Kind of like we did with the Barbarian backgrounds, but more to do with actual level data. Because some games are really, really easy to change data on. Where do these mines come from? I thought they came from these flashing squares. Ah, there we go, right. Okay, so Sprite Collision is not being used in the normal way, so we can't do it through that. To be honest, guys, though, it's getting quite late now, so I think I'm going to call it here. I will hopefully... Well, I will be streaming on Saturday. If I can stream tonight, I can do Saturday. So, I'm gonna. So I want to start doing the eat animation. So I want to start actually absorbing enemies. I've got an idea for an animation that's going to look really cool as you absorb the enemy into like a tornado of enemy kind of whirling up and being sucked into the player. But in order to do that, we need to free up some cycle time. So the first thing we're going to do is spend some time optimizing, probably optimizing the software sprites, because I think that routine could be a lot better. I would do it off stream, but I think there's probably some good lessons to be learned from doing a good optimized stream. So I think we'll stick with doing it on stream instead. Okay, let's find someone to raid. Never find anyone at this time on a Thursday night. If anybody's got any suggestions, please let me know. So I don't see anybody. Clippers on, I guess, but kind of boring. Who should we go for? Well, yeah, let's just go. Let's go to Clipper. Might as well. Okay, let me set that up. Yeah, so on Saturday we'll do an optimization stream. It's going to be the first game stream actually that we've done in almost a month now, because we did the 12-hour kind of marathon stream. Moonbeam Arcade. I've already set the raid up now. I will bear that in mind though. I'll go and follow that person in a minute, see what they're like. But Clipper's alright. She plays Mega Man X like obsessively, but she's a lot of fun. So alright, cool. Thanks guys, thanks for coming along, and I'll see you guys all on Saturday, and we'll get this game really playable hopefully. Cheers guys, see you, take care.